All right, so again, I'm David Durham, the principal of the Stokes Early College High School. This is my fourth year being here. I will introduce you to our folks as we go along through this presentation. Appreciate you guys being out here tonight, and I know there hopefully will be the same amount or even more tomorrow night coming to hear about our program. Students, hopefully you saw us last week when we came to your school. Some of this information you are going to hear tonight is some stuff you heard last week, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail. So the goal for tonight is we'll be in here for about 30 to 40 minutes to give you a broad overview of our program, let you hear from some of our teachers, let you hear from some of our students, ask questions of some of our students. We did school visits back in December. We did some lunch visits to the middle schools. Students had a chance to talk with some of our students and some of our teachers then. So in the last week, we were at the middle schools presenting to them there, the eighth graders. Tonight, sharing with you guys and then give you a chance to tour our campus. We're not very large, but so it won't take you that long to tour the campus. And we'll have some folks posted around in different places to answer any questions that you might have. So welcome to the Stokes County campus of Forsyth Tech and the Stokes Early College High School. We opened up in 2009. And we have around 100, typically around 150 to 170 students any typical year. We are a partnership with Forsyth Tech, Stokes County Schools, and Stokes County government, county commissioners. The story I like to tell is that in 2008 or so, the county commissioners at that time wanted a community college in Stokes County. And as a service area of Forsyth Tech, held collaborative meetings with Forsyth Tech and Stokes County Schools to see what they could come up with to help support a community college. At that time, the early college program was kicking off across the state, and Stokes County Schools applied for an early college and was accepted for that. So we started here. Well, actually, the first year they started in Tobaccoville at the Northwest campus with the first 50 ninth graders. Then the next year we came to this location and we were in one building down the hill with trading classrooms. High school class might be in this room for this period, and the next period a college teacher comes in there and teaches a college class. Then the next year they brought in another modular building, and they were cohabitating in those two buildings for 6 years or so before this building was built, and then the college moved up here, and then the trades building was opened up. So this is our campus. So you are in this building here, the Forsyth Tech College building. This is where all of the college transfer courses are taken. Then the trades building, which is beside of us here, that's where the welding, plumbing, electrical, CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant program is in that building. And then the two buildings down the hill are the two buildings for our high school classes. On your own, if you want to do a virtual tour on your own, you're welcome to do that. Click that link. This presentation will be on our website by tomorrow morning. So what are we? We are a dual enrollment program. Students who choose to come to the early college are high school students with Stokes County Schools and college students with Forsyth Technical Community College, starting in grade 9. It is a rigorous program. On the high school side, the only courses we teach are the required courses: English, math, science, social studies. So we have 8 high school teachers who teach on the high school side, and those are the courses that they are teaching. And then on the college side, students could earn up to an associate degree, a college transfer associate degree. And Ms. Kidd will go over with you a few minutes later. It's a 4-year program. Most of our students finish within 4 years. A handful have finished in 3 years. But there is a 5th year option. All of their high school courses will be finished by the end of their 4th year, but there is a 5th year option for students who may need that, want to take their time, take a lighter load as they go along, and we'll show you an example of what class schedules could look like as we go along. So how are we different than West Stokes, North Stokes, South Stokes? Well, first of all, we are on a college campus. This is not a Stokes County Schools campus. And our calendar is a little different than the regular traditional schools. Although they are starting a little earlier next year, our calendar will still be a little bit different because we are more in line with the college calendar. So our students start back August 8th. The regular schools this year will start back August, whatever the week later is. Our spring break is a couple of weeks earlier than the traditional schools. How else are we different? We take around 50 students each year. Our class sizes probably average around 15. Some are a little less, some are a little more. Whereas probably the traditional schools, and we have at least 2 teachers in here, probably all of them have worked in a traditional school at one time. They can tell you that their class sizes here are a lot smaller than they were at those schools. We provide tutors. We have a tutor that we've been hired over the last few years to help students that are struggling. We get to know students as individuals because we are so small. We have started last year, we're planning to continue offering college field trips starting in grade 9. So by the time students finish the 11th grade, they will have visited 11 colleges and universities to kind of get a feel what college, different types of college are like: public college, private college, community college. So that's a little bit how we're different. Our classes are so small, and teachers can tell you a little bit about what they do in their classes here shortly, but they teach differently in our classes. There are lots of debates, lots of hands-on things going on in classes. So a lot of collaboration amongst the students. Again, teachers get to know the students, we get to know the students, and, they could tell if a students are having an off day or something like that. Get to know them, what's going on, that kind of thing. I had the opportunity, to every week, I wasn't able to do this to other schools, but every week, I am looking at grades and reaching out to students, reaching out to families and saying, hey, your students are doing well, or your students are struggling, and what can we do to help? So I get a chance to get to know the students. I know every student by name, but as I get older, sometimes the sparks don't quite connect. But anyway, let's see. And I'm going to turn it over to Miss Kidd. She is actually our college liaison, works for Forsyth Tech, and I will let her explain her role and go over a few things with you.
Hi, I'm Holly Kidd. I'm the early college liaison here, and I've been here for several years. Just going to kind of talk about how the college and the high school work together, and how the different types of options and programs and everything that the college side can bring to students. I think the number one draw to the Stokes Early College, if you want to guess, it's the deal. It's the best deal around. It's $52 a year to come here, and that's for fees. When you look at that, so one of the main things that we on the college side provide is a 2-year degree, which is those in college transfer, which is those first 2 years of college. And when you look at the costs that are out there for Forsyth Tech, this is an average cost of what 2 years at a school would look like. So for Forsyth Tech, that's a community college, so it's a couple $1,000s that you would save just for the students coming here. But if you look at 2 years at NC State that you would get out of the way before you went there, would be like for a public school, which is NC State, also Western Carolina and Appalachian. Those are all public, so you can kind of see the different cost variety. Wake Forest obviously is $175,000 a year. So if you save that much, I guess you can all imagine what you could do with $175,000 that you saved. So any questions about that? It's a wonderful deal. It truly is. Again, I had to put the $52.50 a year because that's pretty amazing. There are some fees, like if you had a science class on the high school side, then you may have a science fee or something like that.
And those fees are at any high school.
Yeah, like your math fee or your science fee at your high school. Okay, so the first 2 years I said of college tuition free. Most students here will earn their high school diploma as well as a college transfer degree. If they're not quite able to fit that in 4 years, they have the fifth year option here. We have some students who can complete it all in 3. So there's lots of options. You get to go at your own speed, whatever that looks like for the individual student. It's a very personalized way of looking at your education and where you want to go. Okay, so the degree options, there's the Associate in Arts or Associate in Science. All students, when they start out here, we typically put them in the Associate of Arts pathway. They're taking basically the same classes, and then by their junior and senior years, they're spreading out and taking all different kinds of classes, whatever that student's interests are in. So some may switch to the Associate of Science. Some may say, I don't know that I want to transfer somewhere. I think I want a applied science, associate in applied science, which is just a 2-year degree that doesn't lead to something else, such as a 2-year degree in criminal justice, cybersecurity, automotive systems. Then we would switch at that point in time and look at those options for students and what classes they would need to take towards that degree. And then there are diplomas and certificates, those types of programs that are like welding, plumbing, heating and air, those kinds of things. And some students do not complete a college degree. Some just will get some transferable college credit that gets them on the way to where they ideally want to go. Okay, to kind of look at it broken down, kind of what a student's required to take, you'll see here for the high school side, you need 22 credits. That's your maths, your Englishes, your sciences, and so forth. The electives, whereas in a traditional high school, those electives are covered through different individual high school classes. Here, they're all used or all taken up by college classes. So the college classes take the place of the electives. And I also mentioned, excuse me, I can't see my screen. The fifth year is an option for those students. Okay, on the college side, there's the college transfer, which is the Associate of Arts and Associate of Science. And like I said, that is the first 2 years that you would transfer into a 4-year university going towards a degree. And then that's typically about 60 hours, 60 credit hours. Typically, that's about 21 courses because most are about 3 credit hours each. So there's the degree, that's the 2 years. And then we have a diploma, which I say is about a year's worth of college. And that is about 35 to 40 semester credit hours. So it's about half. And then there are certificates that are very specialized and maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 classes, about 15 credit hours. Okay, eligibility for college classes. Right out of the gate, as a freshman, as a 9th grader, we will start you out taking typically 3 or 4 college classes. And those are college transferable classes that you'll be taking. And this is a way for you to establish your GPA in college. And you will need that GPA, You'll need that GPA to qualify for gateway courses. Gateway courses are math and English classes, college math and English classes. So you have to establish a GPA that's high enough to get into those gateway courses. 10th, 11th, and 12th graders just keep taking more college classes, other electives, and to achieve their goals, whatever they are. Enrollment in Gateway English is the criteria for that is a student must have a GPA of a college GPA of a 2.8 or higher in 6 or more credit hours of college classes. To get into the math classes here at Forsyth Tech, they must have either a Math 3 EOG of a 4 or 5. They can also use pre-ACT scores to qualify, or once they get to their junior year, they can use their high school GPA to place them in. So there's different ways to qualify for those, but we really want to set them up out of the gate successful so that they can have the GPAs and what they need to get into those college gateway classes. All right. So if you're wondering kind of what a typical semester would look like here at Forsyth Tech, when you combine the college classes and the high school classes, if you look at this right here, the black classes in black print, those are high school classes, and the red print classes are the college classes. So if you look like your ninth grade year, we sprinkle in a few college classes, but it's mostly high school classes, and it trickulates down to the 12th grade year, where you're only having one high school class and all the rest are college classes. So that's kind of how it kind of shakes out. Okay, here's an example of like if someone said, you know, I don't want a 2-year degree, I want a diploma or a certificate. So this is an example of what a trades certificate would look like in welding. If a student decided they wanted to become a welder, obviously they would start out more with the high school classes because they still need to get all those high school classes in. And then they would start their junior and senior year taking the college welding classes. We offer in the underline here, those classes are all taught here on our campus in the trades building. I encourage you, if you get an opportunity after this, to go over to the trades building and see the welding labs. But they can get the whole certificate here on this campus. And if they want to keep on towards the diploma, they would need to have transportation by the time they get to a junior or senior to go to main campus to finish out that diploma.
All right, so those were, again, this presentation will be posted, so you can go back and review this again. You're not going to remember all this stuff. But basically, from what Ms. Kidd just went over, the first 2 years is more high school heavy courses, getting those required courses out of the way, and lighter on the college side. As you saw the junior year, it kind of flips. You become more of a college student than a high school student. So what does our day-to-day look like? So we do provide bus transportation. Stokes County Schools does provide bus transportation. I'm going to admit some routes can be long, especially if no matter where you live in this county, depending on how many people ride and where they live, some students can be on the bus hour and 45 minutes one way. And that's just the unfortunate thing about that. Our daily schedule, we are on the block system. So we have 4 90-minute periods, just like any other high school. Again, our calendar is different. Our lunch, we have one lunch period. We're small enough. We have one lunch period that throughout the day. We don't have a cafeteria here, a kitchen. So our students order their lunch in the morning, what they want to eat for lunch. South Stokes brings that over, individualized packaging for us. And I eat it about every day. So it's not bad as far as school lunches go. As a Forsyth Tech student, you're not bound to just this campus. So especially as 11th and 12th grader, if you have your own means of transportation and there's a program that we don't have here, you could go to another campus to take a class, like especially seniors. We have several seniors this semester that all of their classes are college classes, and they're going to main campus to take things that we don't have here. What else do we have? Now, we do not have athletic teams here. However, our students can participate in athletics at their home school of record. We cannot alter transportation to get students to the high school for practices in time. However, if you are a North District student or a South District student, the bus routes are so that you could probably ride a regular bus route and get to North or South in time to make practices. Unfortunately, West, the way the routes are right now, that isn't an option. So, but we have about 10% of our student body that participate in sports. Some go to every every school to participate. It can be done. It takes some coordination between us, you, the school that you're going to participate. And, because their schedule is a little bit different than ours. So sometimes they might have a teacher work day where we have school. They want to try to have a practice. Well, you're in school. You just have to remind them I'm in school. If you apply, are accepted, and choose to come, on your letter of intent, we will ask you, do you plan to participate in sports at the other schools? So we can kind of try to put you a high school class in the fourth period if you had to leave early for going to Allegheny to play. Then it's a little bit easier to work with high school teachers to get caught up than it would be college instructors. Driver's education. We do not offer driver's education here, but any Stokes County student can take driver's ed at any of the high schools. And that is one time we are allowed to alter transportation. But again, north and south, you're going to get there in time anyway. But for that, if you wind up getting in the class at West Stokes, they will allow us to alter transportation on those days to drive to West Stokes to get you there in time for classes. West Stokes is typically 10 days, 3 hours a day. At the other two schools, it's typically 5 days. They're like 6 hours after school, something crazy like that. ROTC, we don't offer that here. We have had students in the past to do ROTC at South Stokes, but typically they have to wait till junior and senior year to where they have transportation that can get there. Band, if you are a band student and the traditional schools offer after school band, then that is an opportunity. We had a couple of years ago, we had 3 or 4 to go to West to do after school marching band in the fall. This year we had 3 or 4 to do marching band at South Stokes. They had an after school marching band. And then they also participated in the all county band. So for band, it's mostly going to have to be if it's an after school program that they offer for band. Clubs, we have different clubs here. We don't have a student government right now. Usually our clubs are driven by student interests. And so that can change from year to year. If a student has an interest in a club, they gather a group of students together that has that same interest. They seek us out and say, hey, we would like to start this club. Well, if you have enough interest and you can find a teacher that will sponsor it, we'll have the club. Sometimes that lasts a long time. Sometimes they don't last very long, depending on how interested the students are in that. Clubs mostly meet during lunch. And we haven't had Quidditch in a while either. But we do have a few that will meet after school, but most clubs meet during lunch. We do have prom. We haven't had a school dance in a while, but I got a group of students together today, a new spirit club that we kicked off today. And we're trying to come up with ideas of what we can do to do more activities around at school. We do have food trucks that come from time to time, about every month, that the college and we coordinate together. That parks up here in the parking lot that students can have at lunch and at breaks. We have the College Student Life and Engagement Office brings free stuff from time to time. We have had field trips. We did a school-wide trip to the zoo back in the fall. The college trips I've already talked about. Mr. Mingus has taken such students to UNC games and stuff in the evenings and visit UNC. We have done trips to plays in Greensboro at the Tanger Center before. So anyway, so those are some of the things that we have had and plan to have. All right, turn it over back to Ms. Kidd.
All right, trade certifications and programs. We just this year have kicked off the CNA program here, which is it's very new. It's a brand new lab. I encourage you to go over and see it. It's brand spanking new, but we graduated our first group of CNA students this fall. So it's been very exciting for us here. It's just another way to get students towards their career goals. And so many of those going into the health sciences need that, so we make sure they have that, and it's free by the time they graduate. Welding, electrical, plumbing, they're all here. We do offer those as long as we have enough to make a class. And then they can also go to main campus to take other classes or take classes online towards a certification. Who are we recruiting? You might be asking, is my student, or that do I think they'll make a good fit here? So I think you have to be committed to the program and really just be determined. I think you have to be independent. I think being able to advocate for yourself is a huge thing here. Is if you don't understand something, raise your hand, make a comment, just have your voice heard, get the help you need, and know how to get that. And those are skills that you do learn here, but it's great to have those budding talents before you come. Have a good time management and organizational skills. You're juggling college and high school at the same time, sports, clubs, whatever that looks like for you, jobs. Just to make sure that you have good time management and organizational skills is probably the key thing I can think of that you need. We are looking to recruit first generation college students. Those of you who might benefit from a smaller class size, I think that's a great reason also. Maybe are economically disadvantaged. And we also ask that you commit to at least 1 year. That's so really important. Sometimes we'll have students out of the gate. They're like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure about this. We get them involved. We get them into things. And by the end of their first semester, they're good to go. They are ready to rock and roll. They found their people. They've gotten into their classes. They're enjoying things. Very seldom do we have people that do want to return to their traditional high school. And really want to be here for the right reasons, and that's to get a great education and just to seek us out for help in achieving whatever you want to be. Things to consider, like I said, that a student must commit to at least 1 full year, and the program is a 4 to 5 year program. Most typically finish it within the 4 year. Like I said, we've had some very industrious people who have done it in 3. But typically it's a 4 with a 5th year option for those who may need to finish up on some of the college requirements. So all the high school classes will be done by the end of the 4th year, but that 5th year can give you opportunity to finish up any college classes that you want to do. And things to consider. We need students to be open and mature enough for a more flexible schedule. During your 3rd, 4th years here, you're mostly a college student. So what that means is your classes might be on Mondays and Tuesday mornings or every morning, and then the afternoons are free, or how your schedule is constructed. It might be online classes. It might be on another campus, just to have the maturity to have that flexible schedule and those freedoms.
So other things to consider, sometimes folks ask, what grades do you have to have? Well, we're not only looking at grades, we're looking at the whole student. So we're going to be looking at grades. We're going to be looking at attendance. We're going to be looking at disciplinary stuff. We're going to be looking at teacher recommendations. I answer this way. We have had students to come here with straight A's. They didn't think they had to do anything, and they were not successful at all. We have had students to come here that have had maybe C's, maybe a D in middle school, but they came here with the right attitude and was willing to put forth the effort, and they were very successful. So it depends on the individual. So these are some of the things we've already talked about to consider, so I'm not going to go over that much more, but I am going to talk about the PE class, because even the PE class is a college class, and that gets some students, I don't know why PE is so difficult. I guess they're expecting PE like at middle school or at West Stokes or at South Stokes, and they come into class and they roll out the basketballs and you go play, and that's not the PE we have here. But the PE here is required because that fulfills the high school graduation requirement, and there's 2 courses that you have to take. So, what do I have to do to apply? So the students know this already. It's an online application. I'm not going to spend too much with this because I'm going to show you the application shortly. There's recommendations as part of that application. Then there will be an interview and that you will meet with a couple of our staff members, 10 to 15 minutes, and that will be virtually. And then your middle school will send us these items: grades, attendance, disciplinary, EOGs, and all that stuff. We look at all that as a whole. Now let's talk about discipline. Now, we are fortunate. Our campus, most of our students, when you get teenagers together, they're teenagers. And, things happen sometimes. But I can say I've been at every level in this county, and our campus has been the most welcoming, the most accepting of all students, of all the schools that I've ever been to. Nothing, but something could blow up tomorrow. But since I've been here, this is my 4th year at this time, and I've been here 5 years total. Our students are tolerant for the most part. They're accepting, and because we don't have time for the nonsense. Because not only as a Stokes County student, you have to abide by Stokes County policies. As a college student, you have to abide by Forsyth Tech Code of Conduct. And if something happens at a Forsyth Tech class and they deem that you can no longer attend college classes, then that means you can no longer attend Stokes Early College because you have to be a dual enrolled student to participate. So we do take that into consideration. Now, if you were in middle school and you were targeted a class or time or two, we ain't gonna hold that against you. But if you had multiple issues, it may be something we would need to follow up with you and your school to see, is that going to be an issue? Now, if something happened, we don't look at elementary school. So if something happened in elementary school, we won't worry about that. You were elementary school. But again, that is something we do look at because we don't have time for foolishness. So I'll let you finish this up.
We've been stealing each other's slides. We had this figured out from the beginning, but okay. Dates to remember: application due date. That's probably the key thing. So Friday, February the 16th. That's when applications are due. Interviews are the 26th through March 15th. We have spring break right in the middle of there, so that's why it's such a large window. Acceptance letters, they'll be mailed out by around March 25th, and then we just ask that students let us know by April the 12th if you decide to come here or not. Okay, come experience the shadowing day. So when I mentioned the due date for that application, the application must be submitted to be able to come and do the shadowing experience. And basically what that is the students will get to come here, spend a half a day with us, go to some high school classes, some college classes. This is kind of a line item of it all, but just to come and experience it, eat lunch with us, it's see the freedoms and what the students just get a feel for things. Sometimes I think just the feels of it really makes a difference or makes a good fit for a student. So February the 20th, Piney Grove and Southeastern will come, and on the 22nd, Chestnut Grove will come. Okay, who we are. I like this because we are a small school, but we have a big heart, and we're one of the highest ranked schools, 25 top schools in the state. We're the only consecutive, I like to brag, consecutive A school in the county. And we have a small atmosphere, and we truly support individual student needs and where each student is going. Okay, question.
All right. Before I bring up some folks up here, I had something in mind. Again, as I said, as I get older, the sparks are fly. But I had something in mind I was going to say along those lines. You know, one thing that our students, and maybe they will tell you this, we treat students as college students out of the gate. We expect them to be responsible, do what is right, even when no one's looking. They're giving freedoms that they won't get at the other schools, especially as they get older. There are certain locations when they don't have college classes that they're supposed to be. There's 4 or 5 locations. So one of those is outside at the picnic shelter when it's warm, or sometimes they go out there when it's cold. If I would let them, I had to put in a rule to not allow that. So, but until they give me reason to pull that freedom away, I'm going to give it to them. And maybe they'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm going to we have 3 teachers here tonight. One of our teachers is out on maternity leave, so we have one subject expert of 3 subjects tonight. And I'm going to have them come up and introduce themselves, what they teach, their experience, what they do in their classes. And for you at home, I'm going to flip that around. So I don't know who's going to come up here first.
I'll come up first.
All right. And I'm going to hold this here. I'm going to take off. Let me take this off for you at home so you can stop sharing this. So you can see. All right.
Hi, my name is Patrick Mingus. I've been here. You'll have to forgive me. I'm in a state of shock tonight. Yesterday, I ran into a young woman that I used to teach at the grocery store, and they had their son there. And that was bad enough. But tonight, she showed up. She's got her son here. So I have people that I taught at the early college who now have their children entering the early college. And so, as I said, that's kind of hard. But anyhow, you might then ask, why would I stay here so long? And there's a couple of reasons. One reason is y'all are all sitting out here. And every year, Mr. Durham asked me, are you going to retire one day? And I said, well, maybe one day I'll retire. But every year, a new group of 9th graders come in. And I fall in love with them, and I fall in love with their parents, and I fall in love with being a teacher all over again. And I say, well, I can't leave until they graduate. Well, I've been here about 28 years, and that's why. And ironically, another reason why I'm here is that over the years, people in Stokes County have heard about this school. And over the years, teachers have heard about this school. And so now we have the best collection of teachers in all of Stokes County. People have chosen to come here, and Mr. Durham is a big factor in that because he's recruited them. So all the best teachers are here. So we have the best students and the best teachers and obviously the best school. And so that's why I'm here. And so I'm just telling you all that so that maybe you'll choose to come here too. So thank you for your time. And now go watch the basketball game.
Did you tell them what you teach?
Yes,
I told you I was in a state of shock. I teach social studies. I teach American history. I teach personal financial literacy. And personal financial literacy is where by the time they get to be a senior, I help them to get a life, to get into college, to get into jobs, to know the skills that they need to know in order to be successful, right? But we've always done that, haven't we? So the other social studies teacher, Mr. Lewis, he's teaching world history and civics. And so that's our social studies department.
I'm so short. I'm here. All right, so I'm Katie Cook. I teach Math 2 and Math 3. This is my 4th year here at the early college. Before that, I was at West Oaks for 13 and a half years. So I got to experience those larger class sizes and bigger student body. And now I'm here in this nice, wonderful little small class size environment. Hope to retire from here, 20 years or whatever. Actually, just 14. But the other math teacher that we have, Miss King, she also came from West Oaks, and she teaches Math 1, Pre-Calculus, and Math 4. We're pretty similar with our styles of teaching. We like a nice structured environment, but we also like a lot of collaboration and group work with each other. So when you come in, you'll see a similar setup for both of us. I don't know if you noticed the schedule with the PowerPoint, but you finish all of your high school math classes in the first 2 years, which is really great for a lot of students because you will take Math 1 in the fall, your freshman year, then Math 2 in the spring. The next year when you are a sophomore, you'll take Math 3 in the fall, and then Math 4 pre-calc in the spring, which means you don't have that gap between your math classes. When you go to a traditional high school, you might take in the fall of your freshman year Math 1, and then you won't take Math 2 until the spring of your sophomore year. That's a whole year apart. That's a lot of time to forget a lot of math because I know you guys, maybe not all of you love math and are passionate about it as I am, but we got one. But we have a lot of fun in our classes too. We like to, do a lot of group work and hands-on stuff sometimes, but there's a lot of learning the math and getting the basics down and getting the skills. Because we have such small class sizes, we can work with you individually during class as well. And so that's great for somebody who might be struggling. We can also partner you up with somebody else to help get that peer tutoring going too, which is really helpful in your math classes. Any of you taking Math 1 right now? Anybody taking Math 1 right now? Some of you? Okay, so you can skip your Math 1 here at the early college and just wait and take Math 2 in the spring. Although your math teachers highly recommend that you take Math 1 here because then not only will hopefully it be an easy A for you, but it'll get you used to the college setup and the high school setup where you're a dual enrollment student and kind of get that feel. Also in Math 1, if you take it when you come here in the early college, you can sharpen those skills. Now, if you score high enough on your Math 1 exam this year, then you could be exempt from taking the Math 1 exam again. So a couple of different options there, and we can talk about that more when you get accepted and things like that. Does anybody have any questions about math? Should we sing the quadratic formula? No? Just kidding.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Katie Lemons. I'm the spare Katie, if you will. I'm the secondary Katie to come to the early college. I probably need to stand here.
No,
Hello.
you're good right here.
No, we're good. All right, fantastic, wonderful. So I am one of the 2 fantastic English teachers at the early college. So I spent 12 years of my career at South Stokes High School. Wonderful, incredible place to be, great stuff. Thought I would retire from there until the job opened up here. And I'm going to echo what Mr. Mingus and Ms. Cook said. Like, y'all, I'm not talking about myself, but you're getting the best of the best here because both of our math teachers came from West. Both of our English teachers came from South Stokes High School. This place is something magic and it's something special. And it's a place that I was willing to leave a place that I dearly and deeply love to be able to be here. Okay. We've talked about the small class sizes, and I don't know how to emphasize that enough. I spent most of my career out of necessity, and most of you as students probably spent most of your time in classrooms where you've got 25, 30 people in there. And if you're waiting for help, you're going to be waiting for a minute. I got 12, 15 kids in my room. When you need help, you raise your hand, and behold, here I am. Now, that also means there's a lot of attention on you, but that's a good thing. So in terms of English, I would be your 9th and your 10th grade English teacher, and Ms. Smith would be your 11th and your 12th grade English teacher. But a lot of emphasis on discussion. This is not a situation where you are doing busy work and worksheets and you're filling those out and you're getting a grade for it because that sounds terrible. We want you to know what you know and why you know what you know. And we want you to think, right? My baby's in the background. We do a lot of talking, right? Okay, absolutely. Except right now, they're just nodding their heads and clapping. So we put so much emphasis on discussion, on talking through what we read, because we read to know about people and why they live the way that they do. We don't read just so that we know stories. I'm also feeling like Dr. Who up here with my scarf. So in terms of just the benefits of the early college, you've heard about the small class sizes, you've heard about knowing everybody. But one last thing I would say, as a teacher who spent most of her career in a traditional high school, they're wonderful. They're amazing. If that's where you end up going, it's going to be great. And that was the best choice for your family. But what I have found is that at a lot of traditional high schools, it's kind of a, here's who we are, come to us and find a way to fit into what we've got. Here, it's, here's who we are, but what can you bring to us and how can we fit you in? And that's kind of magic for high school because you don't find that at a lot of places. So whoever you are, whatever you're bringing to the table, whatever your interests are, whether you want to go into a trade program or a 2-year program or a 4-year program, whatever your interests are, this is a place that is open and welcoming and accepting of that. And I have never seen teenagers work together in the way that they do here and get along. And you make friends with people that, quite frankly, Katie, opinion, you never would have made friends with at a traditional high school. And there's something really special about that. So y'all, it's kind of a magical place. Can't speak highly enough about it and certainly hope that you continue to look into it. Oh, and the shadow day. Please come to the shadow day. Please come. If you have the opportunity to spend half a day going through the classes, meeting the teachers, you get a feel for it and you get a feel for what it would be like to actually be here on a daily basis. So highly recommended that you do that. But thank y'all for coming out on a Tuesday night, but you didn't have to be here. We're so glad to see you. So thank you.
I'm sorry back home. I should have put the computer there so you wouldn't be so close. But one thing I forgot to mention, all of our high school classes are honors level. So, if you went to a traditional school, you may not necessarily would take an honors class. If you're coming here, you're expected to take an honors level class. Now, we're small enough and our teachers are going to work with you enough, they're going to help you be successful. So don't let that scare you because they are preparing you for the college classes, which are going to get tougher as you go down the road. In fact, some of our students have said in the past, the high school classes are harder than the college classes. I don't know if that's true or if they just have prepared them early enough that it makes the college classes easier. So, and I'm going to bring some students up here. Come on up. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you and tell you a little bit about them and then have you ask questions of us.
You need to be in the camera. You need to be in the camera.
I'll move it.
You need to be in okay, I'm going to stand right here.
We're very functional around here.
All right.
Okay, I guess I'm starting this. I'm Lucas. I am a sophomore, 10th grade, and I was going to say this is the second year of my early college, but that's the same thing 3 times. I just really like it here. It's wonderful, and here's Ty.
My name's Ty Easter. I'm a junior here. I played soccer at North Stokes for a year and sophomore year. I've done a lot of activities here. There's Interact Club, STEM Club, which are great clubs. If you come here, you should join them. And I've also done a lot of the activities, like we've had cups where we play sports at other schools, like just for fun. And we've had Quiz Bowl, which you do like this little quiz thing in Mandarin, and it's all fun stuff.
My name's Kaylee. I'm a junior. I'm on the Associates of Science track. It's a great program. I do several clubs here. I do Interact, which is a service club. I do STEM club. I started the Fiber Arts Club, so we crochet and knit and things like that. So I really recommend you guys come here, obviously. I love it here. There's so much to do. Tyler, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Tyler. I'm a junior here at the Stokes Early College, and this school, I will be honest, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything about the path that I've taken. I truly enjoy everything that I've done, and I mean, maybe there might be a few little things here and there, but I generally would do a lot of this again. I don't regret anything, and I love this place.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Students or parents?
Yeah, we're about to wrap up. It's been longer than I expected,
Never mind.
but there was a lot of info. are there any questions that you have before we let you loose, before I give you directions on the tours? Yes.
On the shadow day, or 9:30 to 1:30, is there transportation?
Yes. Your middle school counselors are familiar with the whole process. So if you have questions on the application process, reach out to middle school counselors on that. Once everyone has applied after the 16th, the middle school counselors will get permission forms to those about the day for shadowing. They will provide transportation to come. So and if you want to bring your lunch that day, or if you want to purchase school lunch that day, using because we're still in the same accounts as all the other schools, that is an option. So that will the shadowing day, all that will go through the middle school counselors, and they will, like I said, get you the permission forms. You'll go to school that day, probably leave around 9 or so to get here around 9:30. We'll pair you up with another student here. Our goal is to have you paired up with a student that will have at least one high school class and one college class. And then we'll be able to eat lunch in between. Yes.
Maybe this is a question that students can ask
Yeah.
or answer. What's the workload like for the day, and then expectations for homework and everything else? Pretty demanding. Balance and everything. How that?
I can answer that. So I would say it really depends on what you want to get out of the work. If you are putting your all into it, it can take several hours. It's pretty demanding. I wouldn't say for every class you need to hammer down on everything you do, and maybe that's kind of counterintuitive, but I think really just where your priorities lie and what you're expecting to get out of it. I would say it can be pretty demanding, but not always.
I think it generally gets easier with more college classes you take, because those generally have less work outside of class.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
But college classes are easier than
They're
high
way
school.
easier. High school classes, you have them every day, and you have a big workload for most of your classes. For me, for right now, all my college classes, not much work. I only have 2 a week, and so it's not very demanding at all. The high school classes are very you have to do the work that they give you on time, all the time.
Yeah, I could definitely say it 100% varies. I have a college class right now that it has 15 assignments total. I've done about half of them. I could probably take a nap in it. I don't, but I definitely can. And then I have other classes. I definitely don't. No, I would never do that.
So, yeah, what I wanted to add on is, just like everyone else said, it's all about what you want to do, but also there's a slight variation based on what classes you have. Currently I had a decent amount of assignments, but I was just able to spend a chunk of time doing them, and I've got almost nothing left to do.
You also have a lot of free periods,
Third
so
grade.
you have time in school to do stuff you would normally have to do at home.
Yeah. As a 9th and 10th grader, especially on Fridays, there's no college classes, so you have at least 90 minutes during the day. I know the math teachers, typically their math classes they teach the first 45 minutes to an hour. The last half hour, they allow you, correct me if I'm wrong, but they allow you the last 30 minutes of class to do your homework in math and get help and things like that. So you could not have math homework unless you're
Yeah,
studying for a
you
test.
almost never
You really don't.
If you use that time wisely. Yeah, the science classes probably have the most homework from what I could tell. What do you want to add?
There is one thing I'd like to add. In most scenarios, especially high school, most of your homework is just going to be assignments that you didn't finish during the day. Most.
I agree.
And also, as you become juniors and seniors, you have that flexible time. You're going to have more study periods. It's what you do with those study periods. If you're playing video games, then you're going to have more homework outside of class. Yes.
I just want to say something. One thing that I just thought of, the counselor's not here tonight, Miss Fargo, she can't Miss Fargo is a wonderful counselor, and she and I work very closely together. When I say that this is a very customized, very specialized education that you get, You know, we meet with students several times a year, so we talk about what their latest goals are, what their interests are. So if a student says, you know, I think I might want to be an accountant, well, then what do? We take an accounting class. So that's kind of how specialized and customized it is. We just let them go wherever they want to go and give them the resources to get there. I just think that's phenomenal that you don't see that anywhere else.
Any other questions? One thing we failed to mention, as a dual enrolled student, we talked about being organized, time management. We could try to help you, teach you that kind of stuff. But as a college student and a high school student, you almost have two lives, so to speak. As a Falcon, as an early college Falcon, in your high school classes, you have your Stokes County email, you have your Canvas, is what we use for learning platform. Some teachers use Canvas more than others, but that's the learning platform that they use. Then you come up here to take your college classes. Well, you have your Forsyth Tech email, and you also have, they use Blackboard, and I think they're going to Blackboard Elite or something next year. So a different learning platform. So you have to balance those. Some do that better than others. So I just want to remind you that. Any other questions? All right. Any questions from home? Any questions from home? All right. Well, I'm going to sign you guys off because this is the end of the presentation. You're welcome to, if you, to definitely come on the shadowing days, and then we will, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us. So I'm going to log off here from you guys, and I'm going to give these folks here the